Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Witch Academia. This is episodes 9 through 16. I know it's been a while, but the new season, the spring season started, and I kind of got behind that, and I was kind of feeling burned out a little bit on some of these reviews slash drawings. I mean, not burned out on drawing, I'm still doing that now, but I just couldn't come up with any new ideas, and week to week, it got caught to me real fast, and well, you can tell why. All these episodes are a little mixed bag of, progression and some new stuff, and yeah, jump right into episode 9. Akko raises the dead by accident. Her and Susie and Lot are, I guess, going into town to look at some, I think, just check this new festival that's around town. And they get lost and stumble upon a graveyard. And through a combination of Lot's magic, Susie's magic, and Akko, it causes that one of these a dead soldier to rise from the dead. But little do they know, it's actually the headmaster. It's her father that I guess he didn't get to see her before he died or whatever, and he's basically going on this rampage looking for something that's in his past. So he's searching for something. So he's running around the city, and Akko and all the Susie and Law have to kind of like protect everyone away from him. Like they kind of have to hide him that he's an undead guy, because it is forbidden in their world obviously to raise the dead. It's very taboo, very questioned upon. So. But in doing so, the undead soldier gets to meet his daughter, see his daughter for one last time. The headmaster's a little happy about this, and kind of he does punish the girls later on, saying that you did break one of the major rules, bring someone back from the dead, but he didn't stay there forever. He did eventually go away. So they have to I guess clean up all these brooms and repair all these brooms. So they got punished for doing that, but it was a nice episode regardless because the headmaster kind of got to see her father one last time. He got to see his daughter one last time, and it was a pretty nice episode. But yeah, they still got in trouble. I think the episode kind of was hinting at the items you hold dear have special meanings to you, like memories, and that holds true. Akko had to put her card away. They had to each give it one item from their like a precious item to put in a box to I guess kind of like a I don't know, teach them a lesson type thing that make memories, I guess, at the school. I don't know. I didn't understand it, but it was a nice episode. 10, maybe the quote unquote shipping episode, kind of the comic episode. This is the one about the love bee, which stings you, and the first thing you see after being stung, you fall in love with instantly. And I would say this is probably a Cinderella inspired story with the rich people like Diana and Hannah and Barbara doing they get to go to this party with Andrew and all the higher class witches and politicians. So and then Akko and Susie and Law are kind of I guess, poor people. Don't get to go to this fancy party. So they go to I guess, the antique shop or whatever you want to call it, the other shop, and they find some item that gives them, like, temporarily, like, nice dresses and everything for, I guess, full one whole night or something. So yeah, it's very inspired by Cinderella. Maybe Please Sleeping Beauty, because I know Lot or Susie's wearing like a weird like, witch demon looking dress with horns. It's very strange. But yeah, she's wearing that, and so yeah, it was basically a Cinderella story kind of with Akko and them kind of sneaking into this party to blend in with the higher class. But the bee, I guess they found, escapes and starts stinging a lot of people into this party, namely Andrew. He's there with his friends, and Andrew gets stung with the bee, and first thing he sees is naturally Akko. So he's just head over heels in love with Akko now, chasing her around, trying to get with her and all this. The bee sting makes you, act. You're completely drawn to this person. You can't, break away. And the comical side is, Lot is, Andrew's other friends. I guess there's like 4 other friends with him. They all get stung, and the first thing they see is Lot. So all of them are kind of into Lot, like they're all like, close to her and clinging to her. And the funniest part of this episode was the fact that Diana got stung by this bee as well, and she saw Akko, so Diana was drawn to Akko, but in a shy way that she couldn't spend more than 5 minutes with her because it was too much for her. She had to run away. And that was kind of funny because a lot of fan theories is, Akko and Diana being this kind of yin and yang type pairing. Akko being the wild, rambunctious, not disciplined witch, while Diana is the disciplined witch. That they would make a pretty good dynamic if they, you know, hit it off. But to me, it's just fans being fans. that's how they're being. I don't really think a real Yuri romance will happen in this, but fans can be fans. And eventually the bee venom or the sting wears off on Andrew, sort of in the middle of the episode where you start seeing maybe he actually does have real feelings for Akko. He is, drawn to her, or as he said, bewitched by her, because she says something about magic and, how she wants to make it fun for everybody, and he kind of is drawn back to her, like taken back, like, you know, either that or maybe the venom was a little bit interacting, but still, it's a nice hint that Akko and Andrew might have a future together, possibly. And even when all this is done, they find a way this to stop the bee. They gotta catch it. You gotta kill it basically. And when you kill it, it breaks the spell. And even if after the spell broke, Lot is one of the guys that Andrew knows comes up to Lot and basically kind of asks her out again. They can hang out sometime, go to the library or something. So Lot may have a future with another guy. It's kind of interesting how they set that all up. But I think it's more for like to make those fans of the Yuri shipping kind of like settle down a little bit. That may not be happening. I mean, you can still push it if you want. It's fine. And the best part of the episode was the flight of the Bumblebee playing. It was pretty funny. Andrew playing on the piano. Episode 11, Akko is getting very close to figuring out Ursula's secret. No, I'm just kidding. She's not. Even when she goes to her room and sees the same bird that Chariot has in when she's a kid. She sees the same bird, like it's like a phoenix, and she's like, it even has the same logo on his chest and same color, and she doesn't put two and two together and can't figure it out. So she's still in the I guess not really figuring out, but I didn't think she would figure it out that easily anyway. And this is where the episode, series kind of kicks in the major plot of the series. When we revealed that the 7 words of Arcturus, which is like the major plot from here on out, of Akko finding these 7 words and unlocking them, which are tied to her shiny rod, the staff of shiny chariot. Each of those like spheres we see on the rod there's 7 of them, and they make up like a constellation. And each of those gems has a word tied to them, which in turn acts as like, I guess it makes the staff turn to a different weapon. So it's kind of interesting how they kind of almost combine a little bit of trigger stuff. If you watch Space Patrol Luluco, she would actually transform into a gun. If you watch Kill la Kill, her blade would actually transform due to her power or whatever. And Penny Stocking, they have guns that come out of their clothes and weapons that appear. And a lot of their shows have something with a transformation weapon. Obviously, Gurren Lagann being the drill. That's their iconic one. So each word that Akko unlocks turns the staff into a different weapon, which is kind of interesting how they're doing that. Each of the weapons has a purpose, like they serve a function, not just big drill just for the hell of it. No, they actually have a purpose for why it transforms, and it relates to the episodes as well. But I guess Akko was in some kind of like she figured out there was an underground thing under the school, went into there and figured out that I guess this Professor Woodward is what they call it. Basically tempts Akko into, you can achieve your dream. I can give you all your power you want, being the greatest witch ever, like Chariot, but it comes at a cost, and the cost would be giving up all her memories of being at the school. And Akko, that's a great deal for her. She thinks if I could be a great witch like Chariot, I could achieve my dreams and do what I want. But at the cost of her dream or her memories of the school, she doesn't want to do that. The memories are too precious to her, so she, decides not to give into that. And I guess that was the kind of lesson that Woodward was trying to teach her. If she was going to be a greedy witch, then she wouldn't have given her the staff that I guess was basically choosing her. That's the way I took it. The episode that she was basically worthy of the shiny rod. Right now, she's proved that she is, I guess, pure of heart, something like whatever you want to call it, cliche thing. But yeah, it's proven that she is, I guess, worthy of unlocking the 7 words. But yeah, I found it nice that Akko did turn it down. I mean, we all kind of knew she would. At the cost of memory, she wouldn't do that. I mean, she's failing as magic at magic school, but she's learning little by little how to use magic. And Ursula, finds her literally later on, kind of passed out, and carries her out of the underground place and eventually vows to tell Akko the full truth about her being Chariot and all this stuff, the whole story. But yeah, episode 11 was important because it was the important episode that everyone was kind of complaining about from here on out. That this Little Witch Academia didn't have a storyline. There was no major plot, no goal, no end game. And episode 11 kind of shows you that hey, there are plans for an end game in this series. Episode 12, Diana is also happens to be researching the 9 witches of old and the 7 words of Arcturus. And she's kind of closing in on some secrets here and there. And she even has a vision of not a vision so much, maybe like memories of Akko's that shiny rod. So maybe Diana is in on it, that she knows that Akko, the staff she has, is Chariot's staff. Because I mean, Diana, obviously, we all know that she was inspired to be a witch too, just like Akko was back in the day. If you watch the first 2 OVAs. And Akko is kind of getting better at transformation spells, even though she can't turn objects into animals or animals into other animals just herself. But hey, it's a start. She's learning something at least, right? In this episode, we kind of learned about this festival, which is about, I guess, becoming the moonlit witch, which is, I guess, a high standard or status title. I guess is what it is, and you get like a hat, and you're called the moonlit witch for, I guess, that year or whatever. But the festival, I guess all the students have to draw lots for what they're going to be doing for this festival, and all the other kids get they can do cooking duty, or they can do cleaning or things like that. And Akko's group happens to get the worst, which is being a sacrifice for this ghost called the Balhallway, which is a big ghost that's kind of a sad ghost. And I guess it's tradition to have 3 witches sacrifice themselves to this ghost, but the witches aren't in any danger. So it's because it's a ghost. They won't actually die until they get, crapped out later, which is Susie. She's got a fetish for that, I guess. That's her thing. She wants to experience that. So she's excited, but Akko is not, because everyone makes fun of them for that, because being a sacrifice, I guess, over the years is the laughing stock of the festival. You're kind of made fun of for it. But at the same time, we find a mirror that's kind of, I guess, a magic mirror that whatever the last thing it saw, you, I guess, can transform into. So, Diana's in there looking at him, trying to figure a spell on him, whatever, trying to, I guess, dispel them, whatever you want to call it. And Akko comes in later on, and she becomes Diana, so she kind of has that illusion of Diana for a bit. And this episode, I thought they're going to show you, that Akko kind of realized Diana, all the pressure she's under, how every student looks up to her, and they always ask her questions, and, she has to have the answer right away, and the teachers look up to her, they need her. But they kind of took it another direction that Akko I thought she would learn that, but she really didn't. It was more of an episode about maybe half and half of that, but yeah, she really, as Diana, she was more pulling pranks than anything. She pranked Hannah and Barbara for a bit, and pretending she was Diana, and did all that. And Diana eventually figures it out and breaks the spell, and Akko's left there like, well, sorry, I was just playing around, like, ha ha ha, type thing. Again, I thought she would learn a lesson, but they didn't spin it that way. This episode also Akko revisits the fountain from when she first met Andrew, and she sort of got a little bit better, so it's revealing a little bit more storyline to her. The fact that Chariot was messed up just like her, I guess she's learning, and how she had to develop her own spells, and she also kind of hinted that someone was there the night she was messing around with her spells. So Chariot had a friend or a teacher that taught her these spells, one of the two. So we're gonna figure out that a little bit later. And I think she visited the fountain again to get some much needed confidence boost that you're on the right path. Just keep doing what you're doing and don't give up. Episode 13, Akko is determined to find a way out of this sacrifice role. She wants to come up with a plan to make this sad ghost happy again, break the curse, break the spell, whatever you want to call it, for this ghost. And she really has no idea, but she comes up with an idea a little bit later on how to make this ghost happy. And for me, this is I think the real quote unquote bonding episode for Akko and Lot and Susie, because Akko, I guess during this episode, spent like 3 or 4 weeks by herself every night training to do this transformation spell. And Lot and Susie are just kind of like, they're set on being the sacrifice. They don't want to break tradition. They don't see it that way. But Akko, I guess, lights a fire into them, and they get kind of inspired by her. You know, the 3 weeks of training is like to them seeing her put that much effort into it, pushed them forward to keep going. And her, you know, obviously the never give up attitude gets them kind of going too. But I think the big part was, like Lot made a comment about, when we're around you, we're seeing the fun side of magic, how it can be used for fun, and not just, you know, for work all the time. And that kind of was nice, a nice touch that they're bonding even more each and every day. And eventually, it comes up to their chance to do the sacrifice, and there's this whole lot of animation going off that Akko figures a way to make the ghost happy by putting on a show for her and making. But eventually, they have to go inside the monster and pull out this thing that's kind of, I guess, like a curse, break the curse, and she sees a vision of this girl, like a little girl that had a bunch of friends. They left her, and that's what made her sad. So they find out, you know, about that, and they free this ghost, and, you know, help it move on. And that was a nice, touching episode. Even the judges that were judging kind of found Akko's group to be entertaining. They liked what they saw, even though they kind of broke the rules. And I think they did get in trouble near the end that they, you know, didn't do what they're supposed to do, so they got in trouble. But it was still a good show. Also, at the end, you see a little hint of maybe a villain popping up in the series, which I'll get to a little later, because there was something she did, or he or she, whatever did, to cause some kind of event to break off during the festival. So she was either watching them or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely rolling in the right direction. Episode 14, the fairies are on strike. They demand more magic energy. Basically, magic energy is how they survive, how they get going, how they do things. So it can also, and they go on strike, so they eventually block the magic flow from the stone at the school, and none of the teachers, none of the students can use magic. Basically, magic equals electricity in their world. Without magic, they can't do anything. So now they're forced to do manual labor, like cooking things like without magic, doing laundry, you know, doing all these things that they would normally do with magic. Now they can't do it because the fairies are on strike. Fairies are basically all the workers, like the janitors and people that keep the school running, basically, behind the scenes. And they're on strike because, again, they want more access to magic because it's putting a strain on all of them. And Akko kind of jumps in the middle trying to help them with the strike, but for some unknown reason joins in on the strike, sees their way that, yeah, they're being mistreated, that, you know, they don't have access to enough of the magic and they're struggling. So maybe she feels a connection, you know, since she can't really use magic, she kind of bonds with these fairies, but it's more played for jokes than anything. There are some touch moments where the workers kind of, you know, are nice to Akko and her friends because they're sticking up for them. And we also get a new professor joining, Professor Crocs, who is the tech witch, I guess, who brings in like magic and technology together, or magic and science, combining them together to, you know, make, I guess, new spells. And she wants to basically set up this Wi-Fi for magic. That way you can spread magic all across the school. And eventually, you know, the old witches don't want to do it that way. They are set in their old ways. They don't see technology as being useful at all in their world. But eventually, Akko and Crux kind of convince them this is the way to go for this particular situation. And they fix it, and they all get, you know, kind of live kind of happy after. But there's an event near the end with Hanna-Barbera. There's a fairy that is on strike, but they kind of bribe him with some wood, and he heats up the furnace for them, and they can finally take a shower. So, but something happens to this little fairy, and they're, I guess, outright killed. I guess is what they're doing. They killed the fairy, and they don't reveal who did it. But near the end, Crux, you can see something she created, like this little tech goblin creature thingy, as one of hers that killed the flame, and she's starting the ball rolling on events later on. I mean, is starting some, I guess, drama at the school, I guess you could say. So that's what she's doing. And, you know, I don't, you know, I think at this point, Crux is being revealed as the villain of this, maybe the end of this second half of the series. But near the end, yeah, I forgot, Ursula left the school to get some magic reserve, whatever you want to call it. and brought it back to the school, and she sees Crux talking with Akko and kind of has a shocked expression on her face. So it shows you that, Chariot and, Ursula or whatever have a history with Crux, and I don't know if it's good history or bad history. From her expression, I would say bad, based on how she acts, or acted in that scene. Episode 15, everyone kind of like is falling in love with Crux and her tech magic. Akko is very interested in this too, that if I can use technology to become a witch, I'll just do that instead. It's an easier way of doing it, but I think she's more amazed at how, I guess, fresh and new Crux's outlook on magic is versus the old ways. So I guess that's what kind of ropes Akko into this. But, you got characters like Diana and the other older teachers that don't like this new tech where they're using tablets and technology and computers, and they don't see value in it at all. They think it's stupid. But the headmaster's kind of, roped into it, so she likes it. So they kind of have to put up with it because the headmaster is, I guess, the authority on all this. And after Akko kind of learns that Crux and Chariot were in the same class together back in the day, she is now instantly drawn to Crux and wants to ask her all kinds of questions about her Chariot. But Crux is like, well, I'll talk to you later after school. Meet me in the tower and I'll explain. I'll tell you more stories about her. And Akko, obviously is interested in this. That's her, main thing. And Diana is looking through a yearbook at this point too, and she's trying to figure out where Ursula, what year did she attend school, because her name's not popping up in the yearbooks. So, Diana is almost I think Diana will probably figure it out that Ursula is Chariot eventually. Maybe around episode 18 or 19, she's probably gonna figure it out. And, so Crux and Akko kind of are hanging out in the tower, and Crux is doing some kind of mind scan on Akko and finds out that she's unlocking the 7 words, and that maybe, and also I guess revealed that her emotions are tied to the staff. However, she's acting in that moment can trigger these words or transformations of the rod, which makes sense. A lot of the times, if she's in danger, the rod will react to her. Or when she's, struggling, it will react to her. There's a lot of different ways it will react to her. But yeah, so and she also they reveal that Crux cannot touch the shiny rod, almost like I thought like Thor's hammer. Only the worthy can touch this staff. So I guess maybe that's what they're going to reveal later on. But the tied to her emotion thing gives Crux a bunch of ideas later on. And Ursula, is protective of Akko and kind of runs into the tower. And this is where we see a totally different side to Ursula. She, takes off her robe and everything. She's got like this bodysuit on, and she's kind of in, I guess, chariot mode. Her hair is red, the glasses are off, and she's just going, kind of like a martial arts style magic mixed in there. She's throwing spells left and right, dodging stuff, and just it's amazing to watch. Just that little bit of a scene that she's just kind of going all out using her magic, and it's pretty amazing. I did not expect them to go all out with Ursula, especially transforming like that into Chariot so fast. It almost makes you think that she's kind of like a Doctor Strange, mixing both martial arts and magic together to form this new type of magic, and it's pretty awesome. I would say it's easily out of these batch episodes, my favorite episode is probably 15, just based off what goes on during the episode. So yeah, Ursula kind of confronts Crux, and they kind of have this stare down. They don't actually fight. They kind of back off a little bit. But Crux kind of figured out what she needed, and she kind of left. But Ursula makes a comment to her that you're always doing stuff for yourself. So I guess that's where they kind of differ. Obviously, Chariot wanted to give her magic to the whole world by doing these shows, while Crux wanted to keep it to herself to become the most powerful, which is, kind of silly, but does work for a bad guy, I guess if you want to call it that. And eventually, Ursula waits for Akko to wake up, and she just tells her the full story of these 7 words and the old 9 witches, and how back in the day, magic was everywhere. It was used for everything, and everyone believed in magic, and how this. But over time, people forgot, and less magic was being used, and those 7 words were forgotten. I guess 7 words being the 7 worlds of magic. How I look at it. Maybe there's 7 different worlds that were connected to the magic. Maybe 7 different. There's some with number 7 in the worlds of, maybe this could even be trigger being silly of the little Space Patrol Lulu Code, basically how that exists in every single world. How you have you have the Kill planet, you have the Little Witch Academia planet, and all these different places are planets. So they could be hinting at that again. We'll see. But yeah, so the 7 words are the key, basically, and bringing it back to the people, which is kind of what Chariot was always about, I think, bringing magic to the world. And so yeah, Akko's doing an important mission basically to restore magic to the world. And this episode also revealed, it was cool that each word that Akko has unlocked kind of has like a special story and meaning behind it. Like word 1 is, I got a quote from the series, but it may be a little long for the first one. Those who try to achieve their dreams must go through hardships. There may come times when you fall and lose sight of that dream, but you must never let go. Let the flame in your chest go out. Burn that flame bright and strive for your ideal place. Which is pretty nice. That's word 2 is like, that which is dreamed cannot be grasped, but work towards it day after day, and you will find it in your hands. Word 3, open your heart, let's laugh together. Which I'm not sure, I think there's more to word 3 than that, but that's, and then I guess Ursula reveals there's 4 left after that. And she kind of, Akko does ask her, do you know the words? She's like, I know all of them except the last word, or last phrase when I call it. But when you, I guess, say it from the heart, these phrases activate the shiny rod, and all this magic comes pouring out of it. And Akko, I think it gives her hope that she can do this. She can become a good witch here soon if she keeps unlocking these words. And I like the episode because during the word explanation point, the music is playing and Ursula's talking to her, and you get this nice vibe from both of them that Ursula really does really care a lot for Akko. Even though she's keeping this big secret over her head, but Akko kind of has this new goal too as well. If I unlock all the words, maybe I'll meet Chariot, and Ursula's kind of like, well, yeah, we'll go with that because obviously she can't go out and say I'm Chariot because then Akko wouldn't have a goal to chase after. So it's kind of rough, but she needs that kind of motivation. And finally, episode 16, Blot and Susie eventually learn about these 7 words. Akko kind of tells them, and kind of like I guess they go along with it. They, I guess, have seen proof over the couple episodes that I guess Akko is on to something. When we're with her, the staff does act a little weird. And this episode's kind of about, Akko and Susie visiting Lot's family. And her family, runs this, I'm sorry, Lot kind of hypes up her family business being this great kind of like a magic boutique shop, and they have all these cool magic items, but they don't. They're kind of like a information kiosk, basically. You go there if you're lost, type of thing. And there's like a little grocery store, so you can buy some things here and there. So they're more like a glorified convenience store, which kind of is embarrassing for a lot. But she's like, I didn't keep a big secret from you. It's not a big deal. And she, Akko's kind of not wanting to do this, but Ursula's like, well, maybe you might find the 4th word out there. Go for it. Do this little side mission. And Lot's family is pretty interesting. I like it that her dad is very, friendly. Her mom is very friendly as well. But they eat this kind of like weird raw cheese fish combo thing that kind of is very gross sounding. I don't think I would ever eat that. It's just very nasty. But yeah, so I guess Susie and Lot and her family are loving this thing. They like this food. Akko, on the other hand, does not. She instantly throws up, or not throws up, spits it out after eating it because it's just so. Yeah, it's like I said, a combination of like raw fish, raw cheese, or spoiled cheese, spoiled fish. It's very gross. But when Lot wakes the next morning, there's this moss growing all over her parents and the neighbors, and it's getting everywhere. And there's only way to cure it. There's this big antidote they got to do. So there's all these different things you have to do to get it. Like there's one scene, the snow. They get a snowflake that falls from falls from the sky. Akko gets aggravated and kicks the tree, and they get a pile of snow on him, and that kind of works. There's a part where the berries have to fall off this tree, hit the ground in order to use that item, and Akko sneezes and the berries fall, and Lot's kind of getting on to her about it, but Akko's like, we're in a hurry, we gotta do this. So there's all these different ingredients, but eventually a lot and Susie get taken over by the moss, so Akko's on her own to find the last couple ingredients. And this is where it brings in a weird side story with this Yeti monster thing, who's like a blacksmith. I guess you need this like metal thing in the potion, and he keeps screwing it up, messing it up. Akko kind of gets onto him. He eventually runs away and reveals that the Yeti has lost its confidence, and Akko helps him build it back up again. And so he helps with the last ingredient, and Akko rushes off after getting lost in the snow to fix the potion. Eventually, she gets the potion to work after unlocking the fourth word, which is basically the phrase "to see it through, patience is important." Ursula did reveal at the beginning, Akko, you're missing something important, you know, and it was patience basically, learning to take things easy and not rush through it. And she eventually uses it. The staff transforms, and the potion works, and everything is back to normal with Lot's family and everything. And they get back to the school, and they kind of tell Ursula, give her the report, and Ursula's like happy that only 3 words will remain. And that, to me, left a weird scene that, Ursula had this weird expression on her face when Lot and Akko and them all said was 3 words left. And which makes me wonder, could Ursula turn at the end to take the rod back from Akko to maybe use it in a final fight against Crux? That's what I could see happening. I mean, not that Ursula's gonna become a bad guy, but she's gonna, maybe Akko's not ready for this final fight. So I can see Ursula, stepping up after finding the last word and using the rod to go all out against Crux to maybe just put a stop to her. But that might fall into like her villainous ways. But I don't know. I don't see Akka really standing toe to toe against Crux. But if she does, that's going to probably happen that way. But I mean, Crux is probably going to get the staff before Akko can get the last word or gets the last word, and they're going to steal it from her. I mean, that's what I would think is going to happen. And then Akko has to fight with her own magic skill versus Crux because that's how I could see the series wrapping up. And and the last thing I mentioned on these all together, all these episodes are linking together for a good story progression. I mean, a lot of people were complaining about the lack of story for maybe the first the first 10 episodes, that it was just silly adventure of the week, and they kind of were getting annoyed by that. And these episodes 11 to 16 are revealing the story, even though the story's kind of been bashed over our heads. That we all know now. Akko needs the words, duh. We all know that now. But yeah. So I mean, and the last question I guess to ask: does Little Witch Academia really need a big bad villain? I mean, or does it? Or was the original appeal of Little Witch Academia the like I said, the silly one-shot magic adventures with Akko and her friends, learning spells and seeing Akko, learn something at the end? I mean, to me, you can keep doing that for as long as you want, but I think, Trigger, they're smarter than that, and they know the series needed a story. It needed a main villain, so we got, this is what we're getting. So, I guess it will be up to how this series wraps up. If 16 through, 24 are solid episodes about story, or we're going to get, 5 episodes of silly randomness with words being locked here and there, and then the final fight out of nowhere, then it would be disappointed. But I think they're going to do it justice. I mean, I think they're going to take it easy and not rush. But like I said, I guess we're going to ask that question at the end. Do you think the series really benefits from having a main villain, or was it fine without having a villain? And for all we know, Crux may not be the final villain. Maybe she is actually. I mean, I know her intentions are pure evil, with the wanting to use the staff for her own good, and, or as according to Ursula, do things for herself only. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time for maybe one episode. Depends on what's going on in the week. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye.